Welcome to your last normal form that I will be covering. That is the third normal form. More commonly written as 3NF because it's shorter and easier. So basically, the third normal form is just a way to get rid. Okay, let me restart. Basically, everything in a table should rely on the primary key. So, if you have a table for students at a college, you will have the student ID and then the name, the city, the state, and all that. It's all based around the student ID. So now, the third normal form, if you follow the first and second normal form, you may not actually have any third normal form problems. Your database might be exactly how it should be. So I just like to warn you on that because you might not have anything to change. And basically, if you look at a table and you see something that relies on something else, then there's a problem. So of course I'm going to give you an example because I always do. Student ID, first name, last name, city, city governor. Now you look at this. If the ID changes, so would the first name because it goes to a different person, unless they both have the same first name, of course. So this relies on the ID, last name relies on the ID. The city also relies on the ID because every person that has an ID should live in a city. And then the city governor, obviously if you change the ID, so would the city governor, unless they lived in the same city as somebody else. But, do you see the problem here? I sure do. What happens if you change the city? So you cross it out and you write a new city. Well, now the city governor is will change because the city governor is different. So this not only relies on the student ID, but it also relies on the city and the ID. So this is what the third normal form is for. It is to get rid of columns that rely on another column. Every column should be mutually independent and only rely on the ID. This relies on the city. So that's wrong. What you need to do here is you need to make some changes. We're going to make another table. And when you see this problem, you automatically know you need to make another table. Because that's what normalization is. It's making more tables to reduce redundancies of data and bad design and all kinds of stuff like that. So instead of city, we're going to have a city ID because this is going to reference into another table. Now city ID, this is the primary key. This is not a foreign key. Because remember, students had a city ID in there. That is the foreign key. So the foreign key in students, this is the primary key. That is the foreign key. You can tell because the relevance of the table. Students has nothing to do with cities. Cities does have stuff to do with cities because they're the same thing. So that's how you tell that this is the primary key and not a foreign key. This is the foreign key. Okay, so now if you go and need to know the governor of the cities that students are in, you can do more advanced query. So that's the only downside of normalization, is it can make accessing data more difficult, but now you don't get some confusion, because what happens if you have a table for the students and they change their city but they don't change their city governor? Now you have incorrect information. But on here, if somebody changes their city, it will automatically update the governor because it's tied to this table. So the bad things about normalization is it makes bigger databases, maybe slower searches or queries, and it can make some things confusing how it's all connected. But the good thing about it is you reduce all extra redundant, useless information, it prevents incorrect information and also conflicting information. Because what if two students do that and then their city governors are different? Well, with this, it'll automatically update with the city ID, so if they change their city, the governor changes. That is what is amazing. That's why it's highly recommended to normalize a database. And that is the third normal form, and I hope that helped. And I will see you in the next video. It's going to be awesome because you'll have to see why. Just trust me.